Here we go. So, today I'm going to be talking to you about participatory democracy. And I am particularly going to get into this book that I just started reading by this woman named Mary Parker Follett. And Mary wrote this book uh, called New States. And this was written in 1918. And when I found out about this book yesterday, after posting this event that I'm going to be doing tomorrow on perspectives on participatory democracy that we're going to be doing at the Boulder Public Library, and I started to just kind of think about why people don't engage civically. And working on some projects that I've been working on, I've been hearing the same refrains from people that remind me very much of how oppressed people sound in other areas of the country where I've lived. In many places where I've grown up, there's always they aren't going to let us do blank. Whoever they are, people feel disempowered. And so they say that they will not let us do blank. And so if you find yourself being someone that continually expresses they won't let us do blank, I want to submit to you that you might want to consider digging a little bit deeper into your reserves of power and trying to show up in a way that is fully you. So I titled this particular segment, Democracy is Waiting for You. And when I imagine a true democracy, I imagine one where everyone and everything that breathes has a voice. So when we make decisions as a society, it includes the planet, the people, the animals, future generations, the things that we have, the mistakes that we've made in the past. All those things are taken into consideration when we think about how we're going to make decisions together. And unfortunately, what I've witnessed is that many of us basically give our power away. We're in the business of giving up our power because when we give up our power, we don't have to take responsibility for the outcomes. When I look at the society that we're in right now, most of us are looking for someone to blame. Very few of us are looking in the mirror. And I come to the point where I think, we all have to look in the mirror because we all are invested in the world that we're in. Whether we put a little bit of an investment or a large investment, we are invested in the world, both as it is, the world that came before us, and the world that's in the process of becoming. So when I got this recommendation for this book yesterday, I first said, I don't have time to look into it, but I decided to pick it up. And I'm just going to read you some excerpts from it, and then I'm just going to riff. So this first piece that I'm going to read just comes out of basically the introduction of this book. And Mary Parker Follett says, "We talk about the evils of democracy. We have not yet tried democracy. Party or interests govern our decisions." Now think about that. She said, we have not even tried democracy. And I'm inclined to agree because whatever we got going on right now is not uh, democracy as I've imagined democracy, as we've been taught of government for the people and by the people and those sorts of things. What I'm looking toward is a government with the people, and that we realize that we each are government. Government is not some entity out there somewhere that we have nothing to do with. It's not passive. It's how we show up in the world every single day. It's how we make decisions. It's how we live into relationships. So, example, I'll continue to read what she said. So she basically says about the party or interest govern us with some fiction of the consent of the governed, which we say means democracy. We have not even a concept of what democracy means. That conception is yet to be forged out of the crude ore of life. So all that to say that whatever democracy is, it has not emerged yet. It's this illusion of the consent of the governed, because we still have this model where we want people to govern over us. It's a model that has demonstrated itself to be broken time and time and time again. And even those of us who think we're fighting for democracy now, we're just fighting for that same model of someone governing over us that we could say, okay, I voted, my hands are clean. Whatever happened after this, I don't have anything to do with me. That's not true. She says, we talk about the tragedy of individualism. Now, this is where I said this woman is on it. She said, the individual we do not yet know, for we have no methods to release the powers of the individual. So she's saying not only do we not have democracy, we also don't have individuals because many of us do not know how to function as individuals. And this is to say, yes, in some part, we're all interrelated. So we all are rugged individualists, but we all have our own unique experiences, things we've been exposed to, proximities, different things, desires and things that inform how we show up in the world. But she's suggesting that we don't even know what an individual is yet. She says our particularism, our laissez-faire, our every man for his own interest has little to do with true individualism. That is, with the individual as consciously responsible for the life from which he, because she's back in the day, so she's still using masculine language, even though she's a woman, from which he draws his breath and to which he contributes his all. So she's saying that we have not even arrived at a consciousness of being an individual. And if you can't even be your own person, then how can you contribute fully to anything? And this is an unfortunate thing. There's this book called Moral Man and Immoral Society by Reinhold Niebuhr, which basically posits that as individuals, if we were individuals, we're actually more moral than we are when we get in certain groups. We kind of lose our sense of morality. And you can see this on full display when you look at what's going on in our country right now. Many of us get caught up, and this is across the spectrum. Many of us get caught up in our either or, other side versus this side thing, and we just become a part of the crowd. And we don't, it'd be one thing if we brought our fullest self to the crowd, but we don't. We lose ourselves. We get diminished often by the crowd when we don't come in our fullest consciousness. And so then she goes on to say, politics do not need to be purified. This thought is leading us astray. Politics must be vitalized by a new method. Representative government, party organization, majority rule with all their excrescences are dead wood. And excrescences is a word I actually just learned yesterday because this is talking old school. But it basically says it's a distinct outgrowth on a human or animal body or plant, one that is the result of disease or abnormality. So she's basically saying that our politics is diseased and dead wood. In their stead must appear the organization of nonpartisan groups for the beginning, the bringing into being of common ideas, a common purpose, and a collective will. And I am inclined to agree. I was raised on the right, conservative, and taught all the things that we see on display here, many of which are informed by very bad theology. And I'm not even going to go down that road. But many of the people who are operating from groupthink, who are operating deeply, deeply, deeply out of fear and a mob mentality, have just lost themselves. And some of those people, some of those very same people, if you got them by themselves and you talk to them about the things they value, the things that they think are important when they feel safe, then you'll find that they're a completely different person than when they get in the group, get caught up in fear, stuck in survival mode, and losing all sense of reason. So she goes on. Government by the people must be more than a phrase. We're told the people should do this, the people should do that, the people must be given control of foreign policy, et cetera, et cetera. But all this is wholly useless unless we provide the procedure within which the people can do this or that. What does the sovereign will of the people amount to unless it has some way of operating? Or have we any sovereign will? There's little yet that is practical in practical politics. And it's true. What is practical in practical politics? I mean, right now we live in a world where we have the technology and all of the means that every single human being could live at a reasonable standard of living comfortably across the planet. But Mr. Fuller said that's in like the late 70s when we just had the telephone and these computers that were the size of gigantic rooms. Things have gotten so connected versus with technology and all these other things, some of the distribution challenges that we had in the past to be able to get resources to people have virtually been diminished, and they're getting less and less every day. But because we have the same selfish survival mentality, we use new technology in old ways. And so we use the tools that could bring us together to further drive us apart. Look at social media. Social media had the potential to bring people together across the planet, to help people be able to learn from each other. We even have glasses now that can tell you another language. We literally could be talking to people across the planet in each other's languages, like this is Star Trek, and talk about how we could solve problems all over the world so quickly. But instead, we use this same capitalistic and colonizing mentality to everything, so that our technology ends up becoming a detriment to us. It's basically adding fuel to the fire. And so when we come to a place where we have responsibility for our individual consciousness, we can tune down that fire and use that fire effectively, not whatever the H we've been doing. So I don't want to bore you with continuing to read too much from her book, but I highly recommend New States by Mary Parker Follett. And I invite you to ask yourself, who are you? What is emerging from you? What are your true values? And if you find yourself aligned with people who do not match your values, don't just give into the crowd. I have lived a life where I have had to go against the crowd because the crowd was not standing up for what they say they believed. They weren't living into the standards that they professed. And so I had to walk away. I had to walk away in love. I had to walk away because the things that they said they want to do, they were not doing. And they were making excuses for continuing the behaviors that were detrimental to themselves and detrimental to others. And so I walked away, whether it was the military, whether it was church, whether it was a romantic relationship. I walked away because I wanted to walk toward that which we agreed we were going toward. And if they were confused, I felt like me standing there was making them think maybe they were going in that direction. So I walked away. We're going to have to get better at that. We're going to have to get better at grounding ourselves in our own authentic experiences. We're going to have to get better at challenging people that we love when they say things that make no sense. And we're going to have to get better at walking away from them and saying, listen, I know somewhere inside of you is a human being that knows better. I don't know where that person is. I'm going towards a world where the better you is welcomed. If you want to stay in this state of consciousness, I have to walk away from you because I'm going towards a higher state of consciousness, both for myself, for my community, and for the world. Because we have literally no excuses for how we have been showing up. So before I either end or say more, let me tell you that tomorrow in Boulder, Colorado, at the Boulder Public Library in the Boulder Room, a lot of boulders, we are going to be hosting a conversation, meaning Unify and another organization, Unify USA, are going to be holding a conversation on perspectives on participatory democracy. The other speaker is going to be Paul Zeitz, who is the founder of hashtag Unify USA, as well as the author of Hit Refresh on the U.S. Constitution. And we'll also be have Vivian Castro Woolridge from the city of Boulder, who is part of the efforts for the community assembly that Boulder's now hosting, who will be a part of our panel. And if you're not familiar with a community assembly or a civic assembly or a citizen assembly, lots of different names, they are a form of participatory democracy where citizens are educated on a particular issue. They basically select the citizens through sortition process or a lottery. And so they put out a call for people, and then those people sign up. Then there's a lottery, and they try to account for demographics and all of the different ways of representing from the citizen pool. And then they make decisions on a particular subject that everyone has been educated on, and they've had discussions and things. It's been done in Ireland and in France and other places around the world. And it's emerging in the US as well. Obviously, the US is interesting context to do some of this work. However, we've seen that this kind of opportunity for people to really get deeply informed by the community members and experts and things like that to understand issues more deeply is an effective tool for people to make decisions. And we find that a lot of times there's a lot more agreement among people that seem to be polarized when they sit together, when they have conversation, when it's informed, when they're able to ask questions, when they're around new people and not in their silos. And what would it be like if we had more opportunities like that? What if people were more engaged? What if our cities and our other municipalities became wellness hubs for our people so that we all can thrive and flourish together? That's the kind of work that I'm interested in. That's the kind of work I'm doing. That's the kind of work I'm volunteering for, because what we've been doing isn't working. As Mary Parker Follett uh, noticed 100 and some years ago, this is not working. And she goes on to even talk about how we vote and how that is not indicative of the will of the people, because the people are not showing up as themselves. We see people who they vote one way because they're afraid that their family is going to be mad at them, or things like that. Husbands, and I'm talking about particular people that I know who think they have two votes because they also think that women shouldn't be able to vote, so they think they get two votes. This is arcane. It's insane, archaic. It's insane. And we need to move forward. So that's the end of my speech for today. I'm going to write a little bit more in the video, the accompanying text with this video, to talk a little bit more about participatory democracy and some of the ways that it can be used. With this particular person that I mentioned who wrote the book about hitting refresh on the US Constitution, his vision is that we have citizens assemblies all over the country in all 50 states that are representative of every person in the state, where everyday citizens are compensated to participate in citizen assemblies. And then we'll have a national citizen assembly that is informed by all of the work that people have done in their individual states. And we'll have a new US Constitution or a constitutional convention that's based truly on the will of the people. That's a whole new way of looking at things. So that's an opportunity for people to use participatory democracy in that way. So there's so many different ways that we can get creative. There's so many different political innovations that are out there that many people have not been informed about and they're not aware of. So this event tomorrow at the Boulder Public Library is just an opportunity to converse about new perspectives on participatory democracy. And I hope that as you're looking toward this future for your family, for yourself, for your community, that you look at ways that we can actually be engaged, that we can actually make decisions together and help create a world that works better for more people. So thanks for taking the time, and hopefully I'll see you on another broadcast.